Okay, this is week 13, lesson 3, measure of arc length. So the first thing we're going to do is review the formulas for area of a circle and circumference of a circle. This is important for this lesson because this lesson has to do with part of the circumference of a circle. So area is pi r squared, and r is the radius of the circle, so that's from the center of the circle to the edge. And circumference is 2 pi r, using again the radius of the circle. These are some examples that you might see when you do the assignment for this section. So the area is 9 pi inches squared, and they want to know what is the circumference. So the first thing I'm going to do is I know that area of a circle is pi r squared. I'm going to use the formula for area since it says area. So I know the area. They gave it to me. So instead of area, I'm going to say the area is 9 pi, and I know the formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. So I want to solve for r. So I want to get r alone. To get r alone, I'm going to divide by pi here. That way I have pi on the top and the bottom. Same thing on the top and the bottom gives me a 1, and 1 times anything is just itself. So that's essentially going to cancel out. If I do that to the right side, I need to do the same thing to the left side to keep the equation equal. So I divide both sides by pi. I end up getting 9 equals r squared. So now I can solve for r and figure out what the radius of a circle is. To get r alone, I'm going to square root. That's going to get rid of my squared. If I square root the right side, I need to square root the left side to keep it equal. So I end up getting that r equals 3. I know the radius of this circle is 3, so now I'm able to find the circumference. I'm going to use my circumference formula, which I know is 2 pi r, and I'm going to plug in my r, which now I know is 3. So I'm going to multiply 2 and 3 together to get 6, and then usually you can leave this in terms of pi, unless they say round to the nearest hundredth or tenth, and you're going to go ahead and multiply by the pi button or 3.14 to get a decimal. So my circumference would be 6 pi inches. So circumference is always just going to be in units, and area is going to be in units squared. Now this problem says the circumference is 14 pi, and they want to know what's the area. So we're doing the same thing, but this time we're doing it in opposite order. We're going to plug into the circumference formula, find the radius, and then plug the radius into the area formula. So I know my circumference formula is 2 pi r. And right here, they tell me the circumference. So I'm going to plug that in for my answer. The circumference is 14 pi, and the formula for it is 2 pi r. So I need to figure out what is r. What is the radius of this circle? So I want to get r alone. I can divide this side by 2 pi. Now I have same on top and the bottom, so 2 pi over 2 pi is 1, and 1 times r is just r. So that gives me r alone. If I did that to the right side, I need to do the same thing to the left side to keep it equal. So pi divided by pi, that turns into a 1. And then I have 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So I get r equals 7, or the radius of this circle is 7. So now I can take that radius and plug it into the area formula. So area is pi r squared. And instead of r, I'm going to plug in that 7. So 7 times 7, 7 squared is 49. So the area is 49 pi. I'm going to look to see what units they use. They use inches, and area is going to be squared. So it's 49 pi inches squared. Okay, now we're going to get into the problems where we're actually finding the measure of the arc length. So I know that the measure of a circle has 360 degrees. They're telling me that this angle right here, EFG, is 120 degrees. So that's only part of the circle. They tell me that EF is 10 inches, and they want me to find the length of EG. This is the arc EG. So they don't want the full circumference of the circle. They only want this part of the circle. So part of the circumference. So I'm going to be using the circumference formula because we're talking about the outside measurement of a circle, but we only want that part of the circle. So instead of out of 360, I only want 120 out of 360 of the circle. I only want that fraction or that part of the circumference. So I'm just going to take that fraction and multiply it by my circumference formula. So we're going to go back up to the circumference formula. It's 2 pi r. So I'm going to take that portion of my circumference. They gave me the r, or the radius. It's 10. So you can leave this fraction as is, or you can reduce it. Doesn't matter. If you're plugging it into a calculator, it doesn't matter if you reduce the fraction or not. And then I'm going to plug in my radius, which is 10. Okay, now I have 2 times 10, which is 20. So this is 20 pi. You can use this fraction. You can use a decimal. But you need to multiply 1/3 or 120 over 360 or 0.333333 times 20. And then you're going to multiply it by pi, because in this one it actually says round to the nearest hundredth. If it said leave your answer in terms of pi, you would leave this pi symbol. But when it asks you to round to the nearest tenth or hundredth, they want a decimal. So they want you to multiply by 3.14 or the pi button on the calculator. So when I multiply all of those, I get 20 point, and nearest hundredth is 2 numbers after the decimal. Look to the third number to see if you need to round the second number up or keep it the same. So I got 20.94 inches. That's the length of arc EG, that part of the circle. Okay, here's another example. It's very similar. We'll just do another one so that you can see it again. This one says that this angle right here is 30 degrees and that AB is 14 inches. They want you to find the length of arc AC. That's just this part of the circle right there. So I know I'm only looking for 30 degrees out of 360 degrees of the whole circle. That's the fraction or the portion of the circle that I want the circumference of. And then my circumference formula is 2 pi r. They told me r, it's the radius right here, which is 14. So you can reduce this fraction if you want, or you can put it as a decimal, either way. Okay, so this would be 1/12. And then my r is 14. So I can make this 28 pi because I did 2 times 14. And then you can make this into a decimal, or you can just multiply the fraction. But when you multiply everything out, you end up getting 7.33 rounded to the nearest hundredth. The nearest hundredth is 2 numbers after the decimal, so look to the third one to see what you need to round to. And then it looks like my units are inches.